And those pesky Milwaukee Brewers, York. And wouldn't you know it, Andrew Vaughn, just back up in the big leagues. And in each of the games against the Dodgers, he had a hit. He had a 3-run home run. He drove in 4 runs. He drove in a big run yesterday to tie it late.
Interesting.
I think he's got 5 hits since coming back to the bigs.
He's got the stench of the Sox off of him.
I can't tell you how many times I saw after the trade in my just going through DMs and mentions. I hope Andrew Vaughn doesn't somehow come back to haunt the Cubs. I'm like, don't worry, Andrew Vaughn.
The White Sox.
No, because he's in Milwaukee now. You know what I mean? They're like, Cub fans are like, please don't tell me that Andrew Vaughn, who stinks, is going to somehow
revitalize the Milwaukee
and I was
Brewers.
like, I don't know. I don't think you have to worry about it. The Brewers sent him right to the minors.
He's got a new lease of life, though. He does have a new lease on life.
I don't worry. I don't think it'll. Don't worry, Cub fans. I don't think it'll continue. But he's had 2 big hits.
He was like Andy Dufresne with the Chicago White Sox.
Yeah, I think so.
And the rate was like Shawshank. I mean, that's what it was.
He's just like, how do I get out? How do I tunnel my way out?
He got out. I don't know, by bad play, by whatever, by them giving up on him. Either way, he's out of there.
Combination of both.
Yeah, he's happy camper now.
And he's had a couple of big hits for them. He just got called up. He just played this series with the Dodgers. The Brewers extend the winning streak. The Dodgers have lost 6 in a row. It is the longest losing streak for the Dodgers since before COVID, since 2019. How about that? And they struggled to score in that series just the way the Cubs are struggling to hit and score right now in Minneapolis. The Dodgers got outscored 15-3 in that 3-game series. They hadn't lost back-to-back games since the first 2 days of June, let alone a 6-game losing streak. And I know Cub fans are thinking, why couldn't you have done us a favor, LA? But such is life in the NL Central, and that's baseball, and even good teams go through droughts. And the Cubs are, I heard that, the Cubs are going through it right now, too.
Turn my mic off.
I still heard it.
Yeah, it echoed.
Matt Shaw got the day off yesterday. The Cubs have scored just 3 runs in the first 2 games in Minnesota before they play the final game coming up today. Matt Shaw got a day off yesterday. He continues to struggle at the plate. I'll tell you, he brings a lot of value defensively. He really does. He can pick it over at third, but the struggles on offense continued after, it looked like maybe he figured some things out when they sent him down to the minors there early in the season. He came back up. He was good for a while, but it's been a struggle. His OPS plus is down to 66. He's just 1 for 22 in July. If you're going to point to something positive, it's that he doesn't swing and miss a lot. Even though he's not getting on base and he's just 1 for his last 22, he's punched out just 1 time. So he puts the ball in play a lot. It's just been a little bit of a grind for him right now. We'll see if the day off can kind of get him going offensively. Maybe the All-Star break does too. Otherwise, the Cubs are going to have to search for other answers over at third. It's Carmen and Jurko. Hope everyone's having a great day. Beautiful outside today. We're back with the full ride. The White Sox are on later tonight, starting a 4-game series against Cleveland. 6 o'clock will be the pregame after Waddle and Sylvia a little bit later on. Tomorrow, we're live at the ballpark pretty much all day starting at noon. We'll do our show live on the concourse. Black and Abdallah will be in for Waddle and Sylvie. They will follow. They're going to be live, getting ready for the reunion of the 2005 Sox and the unveiling of the Burley statue. By the way, Black and Abdallah are in today and tomorrow for Waddle and Sylvie, so we'll crosstalk with the guys in a few hours. But the lead's down to 1.5, and I feel like you're just going to have to get used to this, and they might nip at the Cubs' heels all season. I still think the Cubs are the best team in the division. I think they'll win the division.
It'll be fun.
The Brewers can pitch, Jurko, and that's one thing that can take you a long way, obviously. And they're better offensively than I thought. They did this last year. They're doing it again this year. They can pitch. Quintana had another good game again yesterday. The Brewers have the 4th lowest starters ERA in the majors. They've got a top 10 strikeout rate. They're middle of the pack in fielding independent pitching and in whip, so that might give you an idea that maybe there's a little randomness and a little flukiness and some luck that's gone their way amongst how good their starters have been in terms of ERA. Some of the adjusted numbers aren't quite as good, but I think they can really pitch, and they got guys that can strike you out. Peralta could strike you out. Mizrowski can obviously strike you out. Woodruff's back. He was pretty good in his debut. And they've got guys in their bullpen that can strike you out. So that's probably one thing that's going to maybe keep them in this a little bit longer than I was giving them credit for most of the offseason and even most of the first half of the regular season.
We'll see if they do anything.
Yeah, they probably will.
Will they do anything before the trade deadline? That might make them a little bit better.
They could.
You know the games. We've already 8 more games against the Milwaukee Brewers. 5 of them here in Chicago, 3 in Milwaukee.
Yep.
So, isn't it boring if you just run away with it? Don't you want to have a little bit of heartache? Don't you want to have a little bit of agita? Don't you want to have a little bit of a struggle? Go ahead and sharpen that steel.
Maybe.
Isn't that what it's all about? You don't want to be out there floating 6-7 games out there all year. Really kind of being able to operate in a relaxed atmosphere as you go about your business.
Yeah.
At some point, the sphincters are going to tighten, and then what do they say? You're gripping the bat a little hard. You can see it smoldering a little bit.
Maybe good to do it.
This is the way it is.
The second half.
Yes, you've got to be
This
able
is the
to
way
keep
it
it
is.
tight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You asked, will the Brewers do anything? Jeff Passan wrote an article today at ESPN.com. He wrote the perfect trade deadline edition for all the top contenders. And I'll read you what he wrote about the Cubs in a minute, but obviously the Brewers are one of the teams you'd say is a contender right now.
Yeah, you'd have to.
43.
Yeah.
They have a wild card spot right now, and they're just a game and a half behind the Cubs. He writes their weakness is power, even though they do continue to be a better offensive club than I thought they would be at the start of the year. And the best match, he writes, is Ryan O'Hearn from the Baltimore Orioles. With just 88 home runs, the Brewers ranked 21st in MLB. While that hasn't impeded their production, they're 8th in runs scored. That's amazing. Another big bat could do their offense wonders. Nobody will mistake the soon-to-be 32-year-old O'Hearn for Aaron Judge, but he punishes right-handed pitching. And in a lineup without any boppers, O'Hearn also could serve as the strong side of a first base platoon and pick up outfield and DH at bats. So he's writing it could be a power addition like Ryan O'Hearn is probably going to get traded from.
A little thunder? They need a little thunder?
They need a little thunder in that lineup, yeah. Look, with Yelich coming back from back surgery and they lost to Adames, I know Churio's awesome. But
is Baltimore selling?
Oh, yeah, I mean, look, they're dead last.
Weren't they a team that was good last year?
Very good, and expected to be good this year, but they're 10 games below York. They're buried in that division. And in the wild card, they're 12.5 out in that division with a bunch of good teams, and they just haven't been able to pitch. They've had all kinds of injuries. Like Grayson Rodriguez hasn't been able to pitch, and their acquisitions in the offseason just didn't fire on that pitching staff. And their manager got fired, and they're gonna sell. For the Cubs, he writes this. Weakness for the first place Cubs, starting pitching, best match, Sandy Alcántara. But just when it looked like Alcantara was turning the corner, he's been brutal again over his last 3 starts. And I mean brutal. He's got his you-know-what kicked in his last 3 starts. So I don't know what to think here about Alcantara. This is what Passan writes. The market for Alcantara might not reflect his resume. A former Cy Young Award winner, the 29-year-old, has been arguably the worst pitcher in baseball this season with an ERA of 7.22. That's right. You're talking about an ERA north of 7.
It's going to be tough to maximize the value on him right now.
Some teams, even the ones that could desperately use starting pitching, see the remaining 2 years and nearly $40 million on Alcantara's deal as an impediment to any trade, particularly with Marlins GM Peter Bendix asking for a haul in return. Whether it's Alcantara or another starter, the Cubs are a good starter away from having one of the top teams in baseball. Their offense is undeniable. Their defense is magnificent. Their bullpen has been a pleasant surprise. Adding a playoff-caliber starter, even if it pushes Chicago past the $241 million luxury tax threshold, would reward a team that has brought excitement back to the north side. So summed up well, I just don't know what to expect once a team gets Alcantara. Will he be rejuvenated and revitalized, and he's pitched in the playoffs, and he's been a Cy Young Award winner, or is he going to pitch like the pitcher that's had his brains beaten all year? I mean, a 7.22 ERA,
that's massive. That's bad.
His fielding independent pitching is 4.59.
Yeah.
So, you see a disparity in there that might tell you, okay, he's not nearly as bad as a 7.22, but a fielding independent pitching at 4.6 is nothing to write home about. The whip is nearly 1.5. The strikeout to walk ratio is non-existent. It's less than 2-1. So he's given up the most earned runs in the league. I don't know. Where is it here? It's a negative 1.6 win pitcher.
Who's number 2? If you don't get Alcantara, who you get? Who's the second pitcher of value?
I think it depends on what Arizona's going to do. And it could be Alcantara's teammate, who Jesse's wrote about a lot. It could be Edward Cabrera, who's been the much better pitcher this year. It could be available, and he's a little bit younger. He doesn't have quite the skins on the wall, but I think you look at the Arizona guys after that and see what Arizona's going to do. 312-332-3776 if you want to join us today. I know the Cubs game is starting. If you want to talk Cubs here a little bit early on, we're going to shift into a lot of football as the day goes on, just what the Cubs should be targeting, who they should add. And if you think Alcantara just needs a fresh start, or would you worry a little bit if the Cubs went out, acquired all that salary, traded a good prospect? Maybe if they take on a lot of the salary, the prospect haul is not as good going back. I think that's usually the way it works. But do you think that he could find something that would make him look more like the pitcher he was a couple of years ago? But there just are not a lot of good numbers here. Good old-fashioned ERA and counting stats and some advanced analytics, too. There's just the ERA plus right now, the adjusted ERA is 60. I told you the fielding independent pitching is 4.6. So at least there's enough of a disparity where you think he's been maybe a little unlucky and things can settle back for him. But I don't know, man. A strikeout to walk ratio below 2, a whip at 1.5. Like there's just not a lot that's good there. But maybe he just does need a reset and a fresh start. Hey, Andrew Vaughn just experienced it over the week, the last few days.
Reset.
Sometimes the reset from a bad team really helps.
No reset for DJ LeMahieu.
No, poor DJ got designated. I saw that for assignment.
And New York Yankees sat him down and said, nope, let's go. They owe him $22 million.
I guess they said it was a tough conversation.
Yeah.
Look, he's been a very good player, very good hitter, anyway, I should say, over the course of his career. I mean, he's stuck in the big leagues longer than most people probably thought. He's been a batting champ in this league.
Both leagues.
Yeah, in both leagues.
Yeah.
He's been a batting champ in both leagues with the Rockies.
2 times with the Yankees, yeah.
But he's really struggled the last year and a half or so, and they said that was a tough conversation. Yankees have kind of gotten back on track here the last couple of nights. This is what happens, man. They had a bad June, been a little bit better in July.
Who plays the Yankees coming up?
The Cubs go to the Bronx after today.
And the Yankees are starting to play well again.
You got to deal with that Aaron Judge guy.
Oh, boy. Well, this is what you get when you play so well early on. You build yourself a little bit of a cushion to where if you have yourself a little bit of a hiccup, you talked about the Dodgers going through a little bit of a streak.
Lost
the
6 in a
Yankees
row.
just went through a streak.
They did. The Yankees did not have a great June. You're right.
Right. They're coming out of.
You're right.
And at some point during the year, did somebody not expect that the Cubs are going to go through something that's going to be a little bit dismal? Well, guess what? That was going to happen. Here it is. You'd hope they'd drive into they'd really kind of charge into the into the All-Star break. Sometimes you limp in, then you regroup, and then you get focused for the second half of the season.
Have the Cubs been swept in a series this year? I know they lost those first 2 games in Tokyo.
I don't believe so.
But I don't think the Cubs
so.
Other than that, in that first series, I don't think the Cubs have been swept in a series this year. Right,
I don't believe so. Yeah,
no. I don't believe so.
Happened.
Other than dropping those first 2 games in Tokyo, which still feels like forever ago, back in mid-March, they haven't been swept in a series. So if they can win today, they'll have that 2-game lead going to the Bronx this weekend for that final series. What a series that should be! It's one of the marquee series going into the All-Star break for Major League Baseball, as the Cubs and Yankees will battle in the Bronx. Tim is in Denver. I think Tim called yesterday. We had a short show. We didn't get to him, but he had a story for you about Scotland, I believe.
Yeah.
What's up, Timmy?
What's up, fellas? Love the show.
Love
how you cover sports. Yerk, I was actually in Scotland at the same time you were, and on Sunday the 22nd, I was on the old course when it shut down and everyone can use it as a park.
Right.
I was walking the 17th with my dad and my brother, and we actually bumped into Liam Cohen, head coach of the Jags.
Nice.
He was out there with his his dad and his father-in-law. They're all decked in Jags gear.
Somebody told us that he was there.
That he was there?
Yeah, that he was
That's
there
awesome.
the week before, yeah.
Yeah. So, you think you get like a wave, a little nod. We talked to him for 15 minutes
Oh,
on
really?
the 17th hole. And he was hilarious.
That's pretty
He
good.
gave us his take on Baker, how he thought of Trevor Lawrence. And he actually had some thoughts about his interview with the Bears with Coles and last year. So he was an open book.
Well, that's pretty cool to hear.
How'd he hit it on 17?
I have no idea. We were walking the course because it was shut on Sunday.
Oh, that's right. You're walking the course. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
He probably had played it earlier.
I didn't get a chance to play the old course, but I did go play Golan, number 2.
Nice.
And I just had an absolute blast.
That's
so
awesome.
It was a great trip.
Good stuff. Thanks, Timmy. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, as I was leaving.
You heard that Liam Cohen was there?
No, but I left the 23rd. He was out there on the 23rd. The 22nd was the day before. Yeah. No, we had heard, that he was out there. And then if any of the guys from the States come out there and they play, they let you know There's another NFL guy that was out there playing, and this guy was out here from this team.
Summer break for NFL teams and coaches. James in New Lenox. What's up, James?
Hey, I was listening yesterday, but I worked kind of late, so I had to catch it on the app, so I didn't have a chance to call. And today I'm extremely busy playing college football 26, but I figured I'd call in.
Thanks.
I can't believe nobody said Don Zimmer yesterday.
Don Zimmer for favorite manager, favorite coach.
Manager. Yeah. 89 Cubs were that's going to be my all-time team. I know they didn't win it all, but that team was so much fun. He was so aggressive.
Yeah, fair enough.
If nobody's ever checked it out, there's a movie they did. It's called The Boys of Zimmer instead of Boys of Summer.
Yeah.
It's great for any Cubs fan. They should check it out. So I just wanted to call and pass it along.
Thanks, James.
Thanks, guys.
Have fun with NCAA 26 today. He's very busy.
Yeah, he's busy. Right, he's putting his team together. Putting a squad together.
And Don Zimmer's definitely a memorable one.
Oh yeah, love Zim. Well, I had Lasorda. I didn't have Zim.
You had Lasorda. Yeah. Zim is definitely a legend. Poor Zim. You can't think of Don Zimmer without seeing Pedro throwing him to the ground.
Tossed him to the earth.
Come on, Pedro. I mean, Zim did charge at him, in fairness.
Yeah.
But, man, Zim was 80 or something at the time.
He's trying to kill him. I don't know what was going on.
It was like the fight on the golf course. You know? He did charge at him. Pedro was like the hockey player throwing him in the lake.
Now I've seen that fight everywhere.
I've seen it everywhere.
Everybody analyzing it, too.
It's the best.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. There are so many good things about this video. First of all the Canadian accents. And the one do you catch the one guy? I got the whole thing on record. They call it record? I got the whole thing on record.
And it was about pace of play.
Yes, it was about pace of play.
Get moving. And the one guy that got his ass kicked was drunk.
Oh, you could tell.
Oh my heavens,
and I think
he was hammered.
His friend was drunk.
Yeah. The friend was trying to be the pacifist, hey. But his buddy just wouldn't shut his mouth.
He wouldn't shut his mouth.
And he charged him.
Yeah. And then the hockey player throws him in the lake.
Yeah.
And you hear one guy on the record say, "Nice start, pal," or something like that. Nice start, pal. He comes crawling out of that lake.
Yeah.
He was launched.
What's his name? Tarnowski? I don't remember.
Tarnowski.
He grabs him. He starts calling his shot. Bang. Bang. Yeah. He's calling it out.
Yeah.
He's got the jersey like he's in a hockey fight.
Right,
he does
he's got
it
his
again.
golf shirt.
He's got him 3 times. He got his golf shirt. My favorite part is the Canuck with the thick accents, and I got the whole thing on record. Great. Then I saw another
nobody
angle.
can lie about it.
Nobody
can lie about what happened. Who charged who? Who invaded somebody's space?
It is the greatest golf course fight video ever. Obviously, I don't know how it's ever going to be topped either. And then it's a former NHLer just pummeling this drunk guy who was playing too slow. I keep seeing it everywhere. And I stop and watch it every time. I'm like, I get it. I can't get my fill. I keep getting a kick out of it.
Then he chucked him not in the lake again. He just kind of threw him for a little fly, Hey, I'm flying, and he hits the ground and he slides a little bit.
Threw him 10 feet.
Just incredible.